Hi, this is Eva for Once Upon a Timeline, and today we're going to talk about the 10 Commandments of the Bible. Now, normally I do not delve into the Bible changes because I think there are others that knew it far better than I did, but this particular one I did research previously, so I feel fairly comfortable at least lightly covering it. Okay, so the 10 Commandments, you assume there's 10 of them, right? I have researched this in the past. I've looked at the wording of the commandments. I've pondered it. So this is not a new one for me, but apparently in this timeline, there are 11 commandments or potentially more, depending on who you talk to. This is another one of these scenarios where suddenly there are millions of versions of things and it's super, super complicated. In my old timeline, it was pretty simple. There were 10 commandments. They were all worded very similarly. But in this timeline, apparently, that's not the case at all. Okay, so I just kind of stumbled on this one. But so here are some examples of what I'm finding. Here on Quora, why do people forget that there are 11 commandments? Just the way it is the sentence structure there is really interesting because it doesn't leave a question. It's basically saying there are 11 commandments. Okay, so then the answers are kind of all over the map and they kind of give an idea of what we're looking at now. So this answer, according to Judaism, there are 613. What we get called the 10 commandments are actually the 10 pronouncements, but from the whole Torah. Anyways, there's that version. There's more than that. In the Hebrew Bible alone, there are at least two different sets of 10 commandments. There are even more sets in other spin-offs. All right, here's another one. So now they say, oh, you got to be more specific. You should ask, why do Christian religious people forget that the Abrahamic stories speak of 11 commandments? So let's see. There are 10 commandments in the Old Testament given by God the Father to Moses. There are 2 other commandments in the New Testament given by God the Son of Jesus. Actually, I have not found that exact example as far as I can tell. Originally, there were 11 commandments, but they're also saying there's a new commandment. This one here, love your neighbors as yourself, is the new commandment, sort of. Anyway, it's so complicated now. Okay, so let's go into it now. The 11 commandments. There are actually 11 statements in the Bible text of the traditional 10 commandments. Roman Catholics combine the first 2 statements and Protestants combine the last 2 statements. How to number the 10 commandments was a major issue during the Protestant Reformation. There are 3 sets of the 10 commandments, or Decalogue, in the Old Testament. 2 of the lists are very close, and they're similar to what you have heard. And however, the 3rd list is quite different and consists mainly of religious ritual laws. Okay, so the first 2 they combine. The 2 that they sometimes combine is, I am your Lord, your God. You shall not have other gods besides me. This sentence here is different than I remember. I remember no other gods before me. It was not besides me. In fact, I actually remember thinking before me is sort of a weird terminology because it just indicates you could have them but don't have them before me. This one actually makes more sense, the besides me, but I have never seen that one before. And then they talk about the not carving idols and worshiping, blah, blah, blah. Actually, a lot of this terminology here just looks foreign to me, but the basic tenets are the same. I do remember them, but apparently some groups combine 1 and 2. And then down here, different versions. Some people are combining 10 and 11. Now, 10 and 11 are obvious ones to combine. I just never ever saw anyone ever say they weren't the same. Do not covet your neighbor's house and wife. And actually, I don't remember this part, nor his male or female slave, nor his ox or ass, nor anything else that belongs to him. I've never heard of that sentence anywhere. That is weird to me. It just, I don't know. I'm not an expert, but I have never heard that in any of my research on the 10 Commandments. So that one's fishy. So anyway, supposedly there was 11, and they're combining them into 10. Just weird. This is a little story about some commandments that were chiseled apparently as some kind of a art piece or decoration for the Alabama Supreme Court. And then they're saying that there was actually 11 commandments chiseled on these tablets of stone. What he actually chiseled in are 11 commandments. He's got, I am the Lord thy God, thou shalt have no other gods before me. That's actually closest to the Jewish version. The fact that he separates them is confusing because the Protestant version actually skips, I am the Lord thy God. Now, note not that there's one Protestant version. Others include a mainstream version and a Lutheran version in addition to the Jewish version and the Catholic version, to name 4. Okay, now this one kind of goes into, this is the wiki, and it talks about the different versions. So all of these code here are different, like Lutherans, Catholic, Talmud, Jewish, blah, 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 blah. And then here it talks about what commandments they do and don't have. So like in this case, some of them will have the first one and some won't. And it's like super complicated. I can't even go over it. But basically, apparently, supposedly there were, in many cases, it's accepted that there were originally 11 commandments, and different people are separating them differently. To make things more confusing, a lot of people are talking about the new commandment, and some are saying that's the 11th commandment. Then some are saying it's the 12th commandment. What's the new commandment? The new commandment is a term used in Christianity to describe Jesus' commandment to love one another, which, according to the Bible, was given as part of the final instructions to his disciples after the Last Supper had ended and after Judas Iscariot had departed. Little children, yet a little while I am with you, ye shall seek me. And as I said unto the Jews, whither I go, ye cannot come. So now I say to you, a new commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another. Okay, I am not enough of a Bible expert to know if this was ever in there or a big deal or not, but I'm adding it in because it seems to be related to the other whole commandments thing. But this is in addition to the 10/11 commandments that Wiki was talking about. So it's even either 11th or 12th, depending on how you number it. But basically, it looks like, according to current reality, there never really was 10 commandments. There was always 11 or more commandments in this timeline. This is Eva signing off for Once Upon a Timeline.